What's up, everybody? We're out here in the shop today, gonna try to tackle this wiring harness for Project Mark 1. We got us a spider web of wires here, no doubt, but it's not as bad as it looks. I know things like this can be overwhelming to some people, but like I said in the previous video, just take it one step at a time. When you're going the route I'm going and just deleting ECU and going carbureted, it's pretty simple. I mean, you basically, on this project, I'm just keeping the headlights, tail lights, turn signals, just the standard running lights. Everything else is going to be wired up on a standalone system, so pretty much I'm just going through and kind of clean up some of these loose ends that we cut off, put some heat shrink over them. Just, you could go through and depin this from the main plug, but on the off chance that I might have to add something back, or might have accidentally cut something off that I needed, I'm going to leave about a foot or so of this lead wire left. I still have some extra wire out in the building that I can use if I need to put something back. I'm going to keep the original relay box mounted in the factory location. I left the let's see, this be the driver's side, headlights, turn signals, and then it snakes around. Wiper motor, passenger side lights. I'm gonna get y'all set up on a tripod here, and we're gonna tackle this thing today. Basically, the only thing I'm using for this job is, if you do a lot of electrical work, it's pretty handy to pick up one of these heat shrink kits. It's got 160 pieces in it, but a lot of them are oversized. You can actually go through and, I mean, you can at least make 2 connections out of that one piece. If you're really good, you can cut them down even smaller. So if you're into a lot of electrical work, that's a good investment, and definitely a good pair of wire cutters, strippers, crimpers. But basically, we're just going through. Hopefully this is in the camera. I've done gone through and clean cut the ends of them. Just going through and covering up that little naked end on it. You could do it with a regular lighter, but these little torches make it so much quicker. You can put the flame exactly where you need it. Now, keep in mind, this won't be a waterproof connection because the end's still open, but I'm sure if you sit there with the torch long enough, you can close that end up. Just go through these wires one at a time. Like I said, down the road, this harness is not that hard to get out if after you get your project up and going and everything's working like you want to. You can go back through and depin all these wires if you find out that you absolutely don't need them anymore. One thing to note on these old mopars, which to this day, I mean, I'm not a wiring genius or expert, but I still don't understand why they put these fusible links in here. Why not just run a fuse instead of putting a meltable piece of wire in there and then wrapping it up with your other wires, so that way when it melts 5 other wires, and then it's just a wire nightmare. I don't understand why they just didn't run an inline fuse. So when you come across these, like me, I'm thinking about cutting this one out. If I have an inline fuse laying around here, I'm thinking about cutting this one out. You could replace these fusible links with a inline fuse. This is a pretty heavy gauge wire. Let's see what this thing is. This is 12 gauge wire. I'd recommend running a 30 amp fuse in it. It's substantially better than this, in my opinion. It's better than this fusible link deal, because it's easier just to pop this plug open and check for a blown fuse than it is to go through and deal with 5 or 6 melted wires. But that's just my opinion. We'll save that for last right there. Okay, we're down to the part where we're going to take care of this fusible link now. As you can see, I done cut the fusible link part out. I mean, as you can see, this goes from 14 gauge or 12 gauge. The fusible link part's actually a 22 gauge. You can see how weak, flimsy that wire is. In the event of a short in the system or overload, this is designed to burn this center section up before it reaches the rest of the system. So just on the side of precaution, and given that this is wiring out of the truck from 92, weak and brittle as that is, we're going to wire in an inline fuse. You can pick these up at pretty much anywhere. AutoZone, Advanced Auto, O'Reilly's. Like I said, this is a 12 gauge. And then we got a little connector kit here. This is another handy thing to have if you do a lot of wiring. I recently bought another one because I was running low. These connectors have the heat shrink built into them, so it makes it a whole lot simpler. So we're going to put this inline fuse in and roll along with it here. Okay, we got our inline fuse holder wired in there. As you can see, those heat shrink connectors, they really do the job. Solid connection, waterproof, don't have to worry about them coming apart. What I typically do, which I forgot to do in this case, is I normally, just to make the install a little cleaner looking, I would normally put a piece of black, the regular black heat shrink, down on this wire, shrink this connector down, and then slide the black heat shrink over top of it. That just makes it a little cleaner. Also gives it one extra layer of protection. Now I just have to hunt a fuse down. I didn't realize this is a spare fuse holder that I had laying around in my electrical box. I didn't realize it was for the mini fuses, so I have to hunt one of those down. Well, y'all, I managed to get the majority of it taped up, so now it's a whole lot more manageable. unfortunately run out of wire loom though, so I'm going to have to make a trip to Harbor Freight. I thought I had enough left over, but no biggies. The rest of it will be pretty straightforward. Just sliding the cover over the wire. See, I got these few pieces done right here. So it makes it a whole lot cleaner, easier to manage. While I'm over at Harbor Freight, I'll get some new loom, to some 3/4 inch or inch, whatever they have in stock, to redo these main harnesses right here. Found me a 25 amp fuse to put in there. I think it should be enough to cover it. On the battery side, I got a 150 amp breaker to put straight off the battery, so you can pick these up off Amazon for like 10 bucks. There's a nice little rubber cover to cover your wires there. Resettable breaker, so if there is an issue, it'll throw that breaker and not melt the whole system down. But let me make a trip to Harbor Freight. We'll be back at it. Okay, y'all, we finally get back from Harbor Freight. Got this wiring harness pretty much wrapped up here. Turned out pretty good. Makes everything a whole lot simpler. Just like I said, this is mainly just running lights, windshield washer, fluid, wiper motor, just the standard stuff. Let's see, we kept everything. I did end up keeping the factory relay box. We can always take those relays and repurpose them down the road for something else. Like the air conditioning relay is not going to be used, so if we need an extra relay, we got it. We just got to trace down the wires and tap into this box. But we kept the factory relay box, so it'll be in the factory location. This is the main plug, goes into the inside fuse box. We kept that. It feeds down and everything splits off right there. We got it pretty much separated on its own track from the relay box right here. You can see you got all your battery connections coming over here, and that's plug-ins for the windshield washer tank. Got your driver side ground, driver side headlights, turn signals, and these 3 wires run down. This one set of wires is for the windshield washer. I mean, not the windshield washer, the wiper motor. I did end up keeping the couple plugs off the transmission. I didn't know exactly what transmission we're going to run yet. We're still up in debate about that, so I left those. Worst case scenario, I can come back and delete them later. And then this long lead of wires go over to the passenger side ground and the passenger side headlights, turn signals. So it's not too bad, as you can see. I mean, just take your time, zip tie everything up. Once you get everything finalized where you know it's going to run to, just zip tie your loom up every few feet. That way everything stays nice and tidy and protected. So that'll wrap it up for this deal. We're going to tackle doing the, we're going to make a separate relay panel for ignition, fuel pump, fan, nitrous, auxiliary fuel pump if we decide to run an auxiliary fuel pump for the nitrous sides. Going to make a whole separate relay and fuse panel for that, so that'll be in a separate video tomorrow. That'll be a little bit more in depth. I've been noticing that the longer videos seem not to be doing too good. Y'all drop it in the comments. If y'all like the shorter 5 to 10 minute videos, we can time lapse it and we can roll on like that, or whatever y'all want to see, just let us know. Y'all come on back. Check us out tomorrow. We're going to tackle that relay box. Y'all have a good one.